It's awesome, man. It's exciting to be a part of that, and that's what you sign up for. You know, you want to have a chance to win every year, and it seems like they give us that. You know, obviously it's tough losing a guy like Robbie, but you know, getting Beltran, getting McCann, you know, getting Kuroda back. I mean, we're right there again in the fold, so I'm excited. I just watch TV like everybody else, and you know, get excited about the moves. You know, like I said, I mean, it's cool to be a part of the Yankees because we do make so many moves, and we are a big part of the offseason, so it's fun to watch.
Well, CC Sabathia, not only a big part of the Yankees rotation each of every season he's been with them, but certainly for 2014. But the question is, what CC will he be? And we're going to have a conversation about the rotation. We know there's CC, Nova, Kuroda around. As you watched games down the stretch, did it look like he figured some things out to be a better pitcher? Because he did struggle at times last year.
At times, yes. At times, no. It seemed like with CC, he would take one step forward and then 2 steps back, and it was kind of where he was getting himself into situations where he didn't have confidence in his pitches because he doesn't have that fastball that's going to overpower hitters anymore. And I think it was very difficult for him to kind of learn how to pitch again and see what's working for him, still have confidence in all of his pitches. And on top of that, let's not forget that he did have that surgery on his elbow prior to last season. He had some bone spurs there, and although he said that didn't affect him, you wonder if coming into this season he's going to be even better because it's a year removed from that surgery. Plus, he knows what he has to do now to make it work on the mound.
I think you're right, Meredith. I think he has to learn how to use the weapons that he has now, which means that the fastball is diminished. The arm slot and the release point is different, too. I was talking to David Cohn recently about that, and he said pitchers' arm slots change. It may change by an inch. It may change by 2 inches. You have to learn to live with what you have. You can't go back at the age that CC is and the mileage that he has, the amount of innings. You have to live with where that release point is now. So I actually think he'll bounce back nicely in 2014. I think he's going to figure some things out.
Right. I mean, you know, think about it. How many times have we talked to CC after games that he's dominated and said, you know, what were you doing? And he says, well, pounding the zone, pounding the zone. That's what he always talks about. And when you don't have the same stuff you used to have and the same confidence in that stuff, pounding the zone becomes a problem because those pitches in the zone get hit. And we saw that last year. Led the league, I think, in hits allowed or runs allowed or one or the other. The thing about CC, though, is the responsibility that he has always taken to be the ace. He has felt that from when he was in Cleveland, Milwaukee, and certainly here when he got the big contract with the Yankees. You know, the Yankees have confidence in the character of this guy that whatever he gives them is going to be all he can give them because he does absolutely take that responsibility on.
And look, it has to be tough if you're a guy that used to rely on that fastball. Now that speed differential isn't there between that fastball and your secondary pitches. But you brought up David Cohn's name, and he had been a big guy in saying that he needs to use his changeup more. He needs to rely on that pitch, and he needs to improve it a little bit because that changeup wasn't the same changeup that it had been in years past either.
All right, let's talk about some of the other guys in the rotation. We know that Kuroda's back. We've talked about that a little bit, Jack. Nova is also there, and I wonder what is the next step for him. He seemed to have figured some things out this past season.
Bob, the next step for a guy like Nova is consistency. You have to continue to do it. You have to do it start after start, month after month, year after year. I think that's what the Yankees are looking for from Nova. Don't be a surprise. Don't be a mystery. Go out there every 5 days, use that fastball and that unbelievable curveball. I mean, this guy's curveball is one of the best in baseball. And again, just be consistent. Don't become a Phil Hughes. Talked to Phil Hughes a number of times where he would say, I just want to let Joe Girardi know that I'm a guy who can go out there every 5 days and be consistent. He never remained that guy.
And it really looked like early on he would lose focus. He would almost kind of, when a runner would get on base, he would lose focus on the mound and he wouldn't do what he does very well, and also pounding the strike zone with that fastball, setting up his breaking pitches and the curveball that you had mentioned. But I think it was a very eye-opening experience for him when he was sent down and had to work on things a little bit, got back to using that fastball and got back to that curveball, and that was a big part in his growth, realizing, look, I didn't realize how good I had it up here. I don't want to go back down to the minor leagues. I'm not going to let this happen again, realizing every start is important, every pitch is important, and I need to continue to produce if I'm going to stay here.
Yesterday on the show, Brian Cashman was with us. He talked about needing 2 more 200-inning guys, fill 400 innings. To me, Michael Pineda is a huge wild card. What is he? Can he become one of those guys next season?
You can't count on it. I mean, if you lose a guy for 2 full years with shoulder injury, you cannot rely on him. Anything he gives you is a bonus. That being said, though, he might give you something. You know, I think what they need to do is continue to bring in candidates and insurance, because remember, as Jack said, they really need Nova to be consistent, and they're kind of counting on that. I mean, and he's a guy who does not have a track record of consistency, so they're counting on the best of Nova, the best of Kuroda, and the best of Sabathia to still have what is probably a below-average rotation. They've got to get something from, if not Pineda, and Phelps and Warren, one of those guys, and add a couple of more candidates too.
The good thing with Pineda is he did pitch a little bit with AAA last year, so you know he's healthy right now. He didn't have any issues with that shoulder, and what I saw when I was down there in Scranton and watching him pitch, the control just a little bit of an issue coming off that shoulder problem. So if he can get that down and he can be back to a little bit what he was with Seattle, he may never be that same pitcher. The velocity a little bit diminished, but it wasn't that much down that you're kind of raising a red flag there. It looks as though he could be a guy with some high-end stuff that could definitely be a difference maker.
When we all get to Tampa at some point, middle of February, Yankee spring training starts. You're going to have McCann, you're going to have Ellsbury, you're going to have Beltran, you're going to have all these marquee names. Pineda is as important as anyone in Yankee spring training for all the things Tyler and Meredith just said. They need this guy to come and be a contributor. Can he be the number 5 guy in the rotation? It remains to be seen, but if he could ever slide in and give them a solid position from the 5 spot, it'd be a big boost for the Yankees.